$1.24 a litre, while petrol will sell at $1.32 a litre. President Mnangagwa is currently on tour in Eastern Europe and Switzerland to strengthen bilateral and economic ties. Well, for more on the situation in Zimbabwe, I'm joined on the line from Harare by Dr Godfrey Hove. He's an economist in Zimbabwe. Good afternoon, sir. It was clear on social media and, of course, the resulting protests today that Zimbabweans have not taken lightly the more than doubling of fuel prices in that country. So what do you expect the socio-economic impact to be for the economy, which is already quite seriously blighted?
Good afternoon to you. Clearly, we have had problems in the Zimbabwean economy for a number of decades now, but I think that the steps that have been taken by the national leadership have definitely had a negative, immediate term impact on the citizenry. So what we have here is a situation in which we have austerity measures that have been taken by the state, by the government, and the result is that it has caused immediate socio-economic suffering on the populace, and hence we have these demonstrations and a lot of these, demonstrations and anti-government riots.
Dr. Hove, we know that getting fuel has been a real challenge even before the weekend hikes, with long snaking queues of cars waiting for hours just to fill up. But have there been any studies done to ascertain the economic impact on the Zimbabwean economy from this constraint, which has been going on for quite some time?
Okay, I think the major problem that we are having in Zimbabwe is on economic fundamentals, and which have now transcended to become currency issues, and this is what has led to fuel problems. We have had these, I think, sporadically in the last 6 or 12 months. And this has been a result of the currency distortions, where you find that we have got a surrogate currency, which officially is trading at par with the United States dollars. But then on the ground, we know it is trading at anything between 3 and 4 to the dollar. So these distortions naturally have led to fuel shortages to the extent that fuel is imported using United States dollars. Yet the population has been buying it using the local surrogate currency, which is not acceptable anywhere outside the country's borders.
So how urgent is the currency situation? I mean, there appears to be no liquidity, and for businesses dealing with the outside world, the lack of foreign exchange appears to be making business ineffectual and creating some of the inadequacies that you've just spoken to now.
My opinion is that the currency issue should be dealt with as soon as yesterday, because it is the single biggest problem affecting the country. However, I should add that I understand the position of the state, of the government. It would also be difficult on their part to introduce a new currency now, because the macroeconomic fundamentals are not yet in place. The government has got a huge domestic debt and also a huge foreign debt. And if they were to introduce a currency now, it would probably lose value as soon as it is instituted. Yet, clearly the country cannot continue as it is right now. So it's a catch-22 situation for the administration right now.
Yeah. Dr. Hove, I want you to give us a little bit of an economics lesson. Often here in South Africa, people do say, why don't the Zimbabweans use the rand instead of using the US dollar, which is like a million miles away? And of course, it would be easy to tap into the rand because there are many people who are economically active in both countries that are crossing the border all the time. What's the challenge there? Why can't Zimbabwe use the rand in the meantime until its economic fundamentals are sorted?
There are two ways of looking at it there. If Zimbabwe were to join the Rand Monetary Union officially, then there are certain conditions that the government of Zimbabwe has to meet. And I think at the moment, Zimbabwe is in no position to meet those conditions. Currently, the budget deficit is huge. And we also have a situation in which the spending habits of this administration are quite high. and it would be very difficult for South Africa to allow Zimbabwe to use the rand officially, because they would naturally fear that it would be bastardized the same way the United States dollar and also the local currency has been bastardized in the last few years. However, it would also maybe make sense to allow the rand to be adopted unofficially. But see, the argument is that it's already the situation. Remember, officially, Zimbabwe has got a multi-currency system in which the US dollar is also legal tender, the Botswana pula, the South African rand. So officially the rand is in use in Zimbabwe. But the problem is that it does not circulate in Zimbabwe because of the huge import bill. All the goods that are being used in Zimbabwe are virtually imported. So whatever comes into the country, whatever rand comes into the country, is sure to go back as soon as it arrives to fetch more goods. So it's a very difficult situation, I'm afraid.
Indeed. Dr. Hove, there's more to talk about, but I just want to ask you one final question. And that is, what do you think, sitting there as an economist in Zimbabwe, what do you think are the low-hanging fruit? What areas could be dealt with immediately to kickstart that economy? Because it doesn't seem to be happening as yet.
I think the most immediate thing that can be done is to do away with the surrogate currency. Clearly, the market has rejected it. Clearly, Zimbabweans do not like it. And that should just be done away with immediate effect. It has caused suffering to Zimbabweans. I think that would be the first thing to do. And then second, probably in the short term, allow the US dollar to float freely and agree that the local currency that has been introduced has failed. I think that will probably give a little bit of stability in the short while working on the long-term macroeconomic fundamentals.
All right, Dr. Hove, thank you very much for your time. That was Dr. Godfrey Hove. He's an economist in Zimbabwe.